And welcome everyone to our Retail Resilience video series. So essentially this is just a follow-on from the white paper that we did. So it's looking at customer trends at the moment and also trying to deep dive into how brands are essentially adapting to those trends and changing their businesses in order to grow and thrive in the current climate. So yeah, I'm Karina, I'll be taking you through some questions today, and Jocelyn, I believe you're the Head of Partnerships.
Yes.
I mentioned me.
I am, yes.
Yeah,
thank you very much for having me.
No worries. So yeah, I guess jumping straight into customer trends, how have you seen kind of customer trends change in the market over the last year?
Yeah, what we're seeing is consumers are considering a lot more before they make that purchase from a brand, and not just their first purchase, but their ongoing purchases. And so that's really impacting the way that brands are starting to think about their marketing strategy, both from a acquisition point of view and a retention point of view. And we know that acquisition right now, the cost of acquisition has increased by about 200% over the past decade. I'm sure everyone's seen it within their own businesses. But we also know that someone that is a promoter of a brand is about 69% more profitable to that business than someone that isn't. So what that really highlights is what's changing with consumers is they're trusting a little bit less in advertising and relying more and putting more importance on their personal experience with that brand, as well as the experiences that are getting relayed to them from their family and friends. And what's cool about that is retailers are really needing to be more customer centric and really think customer first and how do I grow through that existing customer base.
Yeah, I read recently around how customers are really just looking for authentic connections. Mm-hmm. So I guess whether that comes from family or friends, that's kind of what they're looking for. And brands kind of need to be there to deliver that.
Yeah, it's how they deliver that customer service based on that authenticity.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what makes referral initiatives effective for brands who are running that sort of marketing?
So word of mouth marketing is actually the most trusted form of marketing today. So a retailer could expect about 10 to 30% increase in customer acquisition from referral alone. Wow. They could also see that because someone that has been referred will have more trust going into that brand, they spend about 11% more on their first purchase, mm-hmm. and they have about double the lifetime value. So really impactful. But that is referral alone. And referral is important, but someone that really loves your brand and is a true advocate of it, they're not just referring their friends, but they're also talking about you in online communities and forums. They're writing good reviews. And so it's really about looking at that full advocacy journey. And that's where brands are really winning in today's difficult market. And focusing in on how do we identify those advocates and create unique experiences for them and nurture them as an advocate, but also create more advocates like that within our customer base. And so really we're seeing where retailers are putting that advocacy first strategy in place. They are ultimately having better customer economics, which means that they're priming themselves for success both now and in the future.
Yeah. You speak of it as kind of a journey. Is this something that brands have to work on over quite a long period of time, or do they start to see those kind of upticks in performance quite immediately?
Absolutely, it's a journey. So it's really looking at different data points. So referral is a very good place to start. You can put a referral program into place and start to see results. But really understanding the insights that come from that program is where you start to really see the growth and start to look at how does someone get from referring one friend to 10, or how do they get from referring one friend to also writing a good review. And so really looking at that experience.
Yeah, so it kind of eventually has a domino effect, I guess. One person will lead to an extra 2 people who will lead to an extra 10 people. So yeah, I guess it happens over a long period of time, but you can see the effect start from now, but then grow over time, I guess, is kind of what you're saying.
Exactly.
And are there any like specific brands or like sectors within retail that you see doing more of this sort of referral schemes, or does it work better for some as opposed to others?
It works really well for basically any brand that has a good customer base that is loyal, and it will always work really well there. But across fashion, across beauty, health, insurance. There's a huge amount of sectors that it really can be successful in.
Great. I think I always see it across fashion, but maybe that's because I'm thinking. So other than capturing a new customer and gaining that acquisition there, you did mention that there are some other benefits like a lifetime value, a higher AOV. Could you speak about that in a little bit more detail?
Yeah, absolutely. So referral is very good for that acquisition channel, but when you start to think advocacy first, you not only improve the acquisition, but the retention, and you can even start to improve the performance of other marketing channels. So I can give you a couple examples. The first is really around lifetime value. So most retailers will look at their best customers through lifetime value. And that could mean that I have only purchased once in the last 6 months, a small purchase, and so I'll be segmented that way and treated potentially as a lapsed customer. But when you start to bring advocacy insights into it, you might see that I've only purchased once, but I've referred 5 friends and I've written a positive review, and I'm actually a very big advocate of that brand. I'm just not spending right now. And especially in today's climate, there's people that are being much more conscious of where they're spending. And so having these insights, it really allows retailers to create different experiences. And instead of putting me into a lapsed customer segment, I'm a VIP, and they start giving me different offers or putting me into a different level of their loyalty program. And my experience is much different with that brand, and I continue to be a big advocate of it. So that has a huge impact. And then looking at kind of using that data to improve the performance of other marketing channels is quite an exciting space. So a good example of this is really taking that referral data, maybe creating a segment out of your biggest advocates, and then creating a lookalike audience within your paid media strategy. And when we work with brands to do this, they're starting to see about a 20% decrease in their cost per acquisition through paid media, and as well as an increase by about 40% in their conversion rate. And that's when comparing it to other lookalike audiences.
Wow. I think obviously first party data is so important for everyone now. So I guess this sort of marketing kind of feeds into that and helps build up those pools, which is what every brand needs to be doing at the moment, right? Because all of the other audience options are becoming less targeted. So if you can use that data to help fuel other activity, it's kind of like a win-win for brands. Like, why wouldn't you be doing it?
Yeah, exactly. And it's actually the referral journey, because someone is quite trusting of the brand at that point, it's actually a really good opportunity to get them to opt into your newsletter or opt into other marketing channels. So a lot of brands that are looking to do more D2C will actually really use this as a way of building their database and improving the amount of first-party data they're getting through this program.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was reading a couple of case studies from Mention Me, and I think one thing that I found quite interesting was around how different customers respond differently based on what you show them. So like, maybe you talk about that in more detail rather than me.
Yeah, I mean, we're big on psychology of it all, and understanding your customers on an individual basis, right? And so one retailer might find that maybe their customers are a little bit more selfish than the next retailer. So the way that you run that program might be more about what they get rather than what they give. But there's so many different elements of that. It's not just in the content, it's also in the way that you promote it. And again, coming back to that experience of, it might not be after I make my first purchase that I'm ready to refer someone. And so pushing a referral program at that point isn't authentic.
Yeah.
And so what we want to do is understand the psychology of that customer and when we should be asking them to refer. And if we're not asking them to refer, how else are we engaging them to become an advocate of the brand?
Yeah. And how is that done? Do you kind of do a test and learn approach? So you'll try customers after one purchase, see if they're responding well to those offers. If they're not, then try again at 2 months. How does that kind of work in practice?
We A/B test by cohort. So we're constantly testing the different messaging and the different content. But it's important to do it by cohort because we don't want someone's experience to be disrupted. If I say you're going to get £10 off and then you go and you're actually getting £5 off or you're getting 10% off, that is a poor experience. So it's making sure we're testing by cohort to allow everyone to have a good experience as well as seeing where we can improve margins, where we can get more traction. So that A/B testing is really crucial to a program.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm always on the lookout for a discount code.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm about to buy something, I'll always just go online and look for any code I can get. Do you find that because people are shifting towards that sort of mentality now because they're looking for any sort of bargain they can have, that's kind of taking away from referrals programs at all? Like, because they know that they can probably find a discount elsewhere, or no?
No, it's not, because what we always look to do in the program is for it to be unique. So a discount isn't actually always the best converting tool within the referral program. It might actually be that they get an exclusive product, a sample product, or it might be that we're planting a tree or we're giving back to the community. So it's actually something that's unique to that experience. And really the offer is just part of that journey. So getting behind why someone refers is what actually drives the success of that campaign. The discount is a small portion of it. So when you're asking them how they've experienced that brand so far, the messaging within it that you know that will really resonate with that person, all of that contributes to the success of getting someone on that advocacy journey.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I think at the moment, a lot of customers have shifted towards looking to brands for value, but a lot of people just think value is price. But obviously, to what you've just said, it's not just price. Like sometimes the messaging might be price focused, but they also are placing value on things like sustainability, for example, or feeling special and getting that exclusive offer or exclusive product, like you said. So it seems like it's kind of a way to tap into all of those different types of value, not just price. It could be quality, it could be how you're contributing to other elements. So yeah, it sounds like it kind of does it all.
Yeah, and we work with a lot of luxury brands that they don't discount.
Yeah.
And so they're looking to do something different. And so it's really, one of the main reasons they want to do this isn't actually an acquisition strategy. It's about understanding who their best customers are so they can do exactly what you say and treat them better and put them into different programs and make sure that they're sending them personalized notes or really making sure that their experience is different. And so yeah, a lot of the luxury brands move away from discounting and look at how they can create more of a personalized journey through this program.
Yeah, I guess that's all around an emotional connection with the person.
Yes.
So within referrals and loyalty schemes, if brands wanted to kind of shift into this space, what would be some of the key killer stats that you could hit them with?
So retailers can expect to see about a 10 to 30% increase in customer acquisition through referral alone. They can also see that customers that have been referred spend about 11% more on their first order and have double the lifetime value.
Wow. Well, great. Thank you so much for joining us today and chatting through all things customer related and how brands are kind of adjusting with the current economic climate. I think we had a lot of points to talk around, and I think it's a lot of food for thought for brands who are struggling at the moment and trying to find a way to kind of either survive or even grow. So yeah, it was great to have you. Do you have any final thoughts?
Well, thanks so much for having me. I've enjoyed this. Final thoughts. I guess a quote that I really like is from Fred Reichel. He's the creator of the Net Promoter Score, or the NPS score. And he says that advocacy isn't the icing on the cake, but it is the cake. So that really resonates with me.